Stop drawing motion lines like they're just scribbles. Because right now, most beginner mangaka are doing it wrong. They see a cool action panel and they just throw lines around the character, hoping it looks fast. But that's not what makes a panel explode with energy. There's one point, on one single point, that separates amateur motion lines from professional ones. It's called the vanishing point, and once you understand it, you'll never draw a static panel again. Here's the thing, nobody tells you when you're starting out. Motion lines are in decoration. They're not add speed lines here, add some scratches there, and every single line in a dynamic panel is doing one job, pulling your eye toward the action. And if those lines don't agree on where they're pulling you, your brain feels it, even if you can't explain why. The panel just feels off, flat, stiff, like the character is posing instead of moving. This idea isn't something manga artists invented out of nowhere, it comes straight from perspective drawing. The same principle architects and background artists use to make a hallway look like it stretches into the distance or a building look like it's towering over you. In perspective, every line that represents depth eventually converges on a single point on the horizon. That's the vanishing point. Manga artists borrowed this exact idea and applied it to motion. Instead of using it just for buildings and roads, we use it for speed, force, and impact. The lines don't represent depth anymore, they represent energy. But the rule is identical. Everything converges on one point. So here's what I actually do every single time before I ink a single motion line. Step 1, I pick my vanishing point first. Not after the character is drawn, not after the background sketched first, because that point becomes the anchor for everything that follows, where the speed lines shoot from, where the impact bursts radiate, even how the panel border itself can lean into the motion. Step 2, I ask where the force is coming from and where it's going. If my character's mid-punch, my vanishing point might see it right behind their fist, so everything explodes outward from the point of impact. If a character is falling or being thrown, I'll often push the vanishing point off panel entirely way outside the frame, so the lines feel like they're rushing in from somewhere unseen. That off-panel placement is a trick a lot of pros use and almost no beginners try it. Step 3. Once that point is locked in, I draw light, rough guidelines radiating from it. Nothing final, just a map. This takes seconds, but it changes everything. Step 4. Every motion line, every speed streak, every little impact scratch follows that map. Not one of them breaks formation. If a line drifts off and points somewhere else, I erase it. It doesn't matter how cool it looks on its own. If it's not in formation, it's noise. The single biggest mistake I see is artists drawing motion lines by feel in every direction, trying to make the panel look busy. Busy isn't the same as dynamic. A panel with 50 lines pointing 50 different directions reads as chaos, not speed. A panel with 15 lines all agreeing on one point reads as raw force. This is the real difference between a panel that feels alive and one that feels like it's just decorated. Real dynamism doesn't come from more lines. It comes from agreement, every single element pointing toward one shared source of energy. Your reader's eye doesn't even consciously notice the vanishing point. They just feel pulled into the panel. That's the magic of it. Look at this page I'm inking right now, that whip crack motion arcing across the top panel. Not random, follow every line back, and they all funnel into one point. That's not luck. That's the vanishing point doing its job, quietly under the surface. If you've been drawing action scenes that feel stiff, no matter how many lines you add, this is probably why. Find your vanishing point first, and the rest follows naturally. I'm putting together a full, hands-on breakdown of this. How I choose the point, how I angle every line, how I layer them for maximum impact on a real page. So if you want to actually apply this to your own manga, stick around. It's coming. I'm Miracle. And this is just page 1.